I've been Southern Baptist all my life. I believe in the work that Southern Baptists do. I believe in the gospel presentation. I believe that they believe biblically. But does that mean that if I am friends with our fellow churches around here that are Christian, believe in faith in Christ for salvation, will I work with them? Absolutely. Will I support them? Will I tell people good job if you're going to their church? Absolutely. Because that's what John says we ought to do as Christians. We ought to support other Christians. Beloved, you are acting faithfully in whatever you accomplish for the brethren, and especially when they are strangers. And they have testified to your love before the church. You see, these missionaries that Gaius was kind to, that he showed hospitality to, that he helped and helped them to return as missionaries back to John's church, it says that they gave a good report about Gaius. They said, hey, we met this guy at this church over in, wherever little town, and it was good. I mean, he was kind to us. He showed hospitality. He helped us along in our ministry. So there are some people in the church that are supporters, right? They might not be able to go overseas themselves, but they support the church. They support the missionaries who are overseas. Right? It is okay to just be a supporter. I know sometimes, at least when I was younger, I would have missionaries would come to our church, and I would just think to myself, man, I wish I was as godly as them because they're going overseas, they're sacrificing so much. I learned as I grew in my Christian faith that being a supporter is just as important as being the sent, right? It's just as important as being the sender, right? Being a supporter is an integral part of the missionary movement. And that's part of what we do as a church. When we give our tithes and offerings to the cooperative program, we are supporting a whole host of missionaries. When we were able to support Ben, in his missionary work, we've done this numerous times. When we've just prayed for missionaries that we've known and that have been connected with us in some way, we are being supportive of those other Christians. And that's what John is admonishing, is encouraging us. They testified of your love to them, right? Your love before the church. And this phrase in verse 6, you will do well to send them on their way in a manner worthy of God. That phrase, you will do well to, it's actually an ancient Greek idiom for please. Please send them on their way in a manner worthy of God. Right? And so John says, look, they came back and they said you did great things. The implication is that they're coming back that direction. And hey, when they get there, please send them on their way in a manner worthy of God. Do what you've been doing. Do it again because it's important. And the reason why John asks this of Gaius is in verse 7. For they went out for the sake of the name, accepting nothing from the Gentiles. Therefore, we ought to support such men so that they may be fellow workers with the truth. So this man, Gaius, that John loves, his spiritual health is good, his soul is prospering, he walks in the truth, he has right belief and he has right practice, and he is supporting missionaries. And not just once, but now they're coming again, and John is essentially pleading with him, hey, they're coming back through your area. Will you support them? Will you help them financially? Will you pray for them? Will you give them a place to stay? Will you encourage them? And then will you send them on their way to continue the mission work, to continue the gospel, reaching the lost?